Alright guys, I apologize for the b-roll right off the bat because the koalas don't even climb in this game, but either way, welcome back everyone to Boggy Bottom Zoo. My name is Leaf, and it's so great to have you guys back again for what is kind of like the tail end of the series. Yeah, so as of recording this right now, I only have one more habitat to make, and that is going to be for the Japanese macaques. I was actually expecting to, end it with the Crocoseum, but we don't do that. We kind of just jumped right into that. But today we're actually building for the koalas, which is a species I really do love, and we're actually using Gaboy's remaster of it as well, which makes the koalas look even more realistic and honestly a lot better. So we're working with all that stuff, and yeah, we're just popping right in here with a beautiful, beautiful little koala habitat. It's a little bit too big for them, I'll admit. Koalas don't really need this much space in real life. In fact, they're more so restricted to like the inside of sheds and like small yards. We kind of spoil them a little bit over here, which kind of makes sense because we do have quite a little bit of a troop of koalas. I'm not even sure if that's what you call a, like, you know, collective group of koalas. Let me know again what they're called in the comments down below. I know someone told me that in alligators is called like a congregation, I want to say, or float. I honestly forget, but it's still very interesting nonetheless. So over here, we are using two main blueprints, and I should probably address those right off the bat. We are using my good friend Caesar Creates' trees because they look absolutely amazing, and they kind of fit like the koala habitat vibe, so we're working with those, even though, you know, they don't climb them for some reason. And we're also using leader sunshade sails, I don't even know, but we're using those. You guys can find those easily on the workshop. Just look up like dead tree and look up sails or shades, and you should be able to find these very much easily right off the bat. And we're also making our own little shed for our koalas over here. They're backstage holding. Again, nothing really too crazy because we're not really doing interiors in this build nonetheless, but I really did want to give them a nice looking shed at least. I wanted it to look nice and special for them, and I think it came out pretty good in the end. So we kind of do a little bit more of a semi-modern style with like a bunch of colors that pop. What I always love to see in Australian sections is not like that tired, muted orange, green, not green, but you know what I mean, all those oranges. Instead, I love to see a lot more colorful Australian sections, kind of like Zoo Tampa is an Australian section that I am always in love with. It is such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful representation of how you could take such a boring and kind of like very boring theme and really make it pop, really make it special, and that's exactly what I love about that. What I'm also doing over here is working on a little bit of custom Doorage. I guess I'm not even sure if that's a real word right there, but it's totally fine. I really wanted to get this all in place because there really isn't much things happening in this habitat. It's very simple, so I really want to accentuate the kind of like more boring elements as best as I could, especially with where the keepers would come out and where the koalas would come out. And we even do a custom door for them right there, and we even frame that up a little bit. The koalas would kind of climb out that little porthole over there, and I do actually allow them to kind of climb in and out, you know, of course role-playingly with the tree branch over there. So that was very fun to do. What I'm also doing is a roof over here, again using our beautiful corrugated metal, just because it's like the most Australian that you can get within Planet Zoo. There really isn't any other best way to achieve this kind of look. So I don't know, I'm very happy with how well all that came out, and it was really fun to kind of like work with an irregular roof shape. I don't really do that all too often, but it was really fun just to like sit down and get all that done. It's just wicked fun just to do all these new styles of building and kind of like hone my craft with all that. And that's exactly what I challenge you guys to do today. Okay, listen, go on to Planet Zoo if you guys are playing today and try and do something that you don't really do too often. Let's just say you always build for large animals like African herbivores or something. Go in and build for small animals. Go in, even make implied habitats, because it's always that fun stuff that I always tend to enjoy a lot more when you're kind of breaking your own mold, if that makes sense. Also adding a little bit of trim up here, making sure that everything feels a little bit more cohesive, and making sure that nothing really falls out over here. And I'm also adding a couple other trims to the front and back of that over there. And I wanted to add a window up there. Not really sure why, but it just felt like it needed one. And of course, we're going in with our tried and true foliage method, again starting from the bottom up and working our way up from the smallest of things to the biggest of things. So I'm using a combination of drin grass and hydrilla grass for this habitat because it is a very dryish habitat. You really wouldn't see too much lush grass kind of sticking out. So we're using a variety of plants to kind of achieve that look. We're using the Triordia grass, kind of like grass pods, as a way to make it feel like weeds. We're using the drain grass, obviously, because that's like the driest grass you could get in the game. And we're also using the hydrilla grass just to have it feel like it's a little bit lush. Let's just say some like greener grass kind of snuck its way in over there. And we're kind of working with that. And we're also combining the natural rocks with the faux rocks because I always do love seeing that. It always turns out so nice. And yeah, that's about it. Like, not much else to that. And one of our koalas escaped, so that was kind of funny, so we had to account for that. But we kind of do fix that up later down the line, adding a little bit more foliage to the back of the viewing gallery as well, because as I always try and emphasize, when you do build not only for the habitat, but for everything around it. And that's something that I always think is so important that people try and hone in on, because you can make a habitat really easily, but it's how you frame it, which is the most important thing. Also adding a few more trees as well, just help this area feel like it's a little bit more forested. And this is exactly why I love the Australian section so much. You always tend to get like these beautiful, beautiful shadows through the trees, and it looks really insane when it all comes together. I've taken a few moments like on my own time to really like walk through this entire area, and it feels really good once you're actually in here and seeing everything come into play. Like, I don't know, it's just once you start to work on areas and you start to circle back and be like, I really like this, it all really does start to come together, and it really does help you give a little bit more direction as to where to go from here. Like, for example, when I was walking through this Australian area, I had a little bit of better idea of how I was going to handle the saltwater crocodile habitat, and I think it really does help to just take a step back and to not build for a little bit. I know it's very crazy. I'm telling you to not build in order to build. But no, in all seriousness, that is probably one of the best things you can do. Just sit back and kind of like examine what you've been doing and see how you could like kind of continue those themes. It's very much like writing poetry or a song. You have these consistent themes within these areas, and you really have to build off of those, especially when you're talking like not only foliage, but you can also do that with fences. You can do that with like, I mean, look at those fences right there. I've been using those a lot. Those are from the platypus habitat. It all kind of rhymes. It rhymes. I think that's something that George Lucas said about like Star Wars and when he was writing that stuff. But no, like, it just makes sure it rhymes and stuff. And I don't know. It's very, very, very early in the morning for me, so I have not had all my coffee yet. But either way, just making sure that you guys handle all that stuff is very important. So making our way through here and adding the rest of the fences over here, because we don't want to allow any one of our guests to really fall off this viewing platform, even though, you know, they wouldn't get hurt. It's only a couple feet up in the air. I really don't want to have any lawsuits on my hands, so we're kind of working around that. But we essentially kind of just color it up a little bit more with adding these different like color palettes. And I really do love the reds and the blues and the greens that we kind of throw in here. It really is so fun to really just, I don't know, sit down and kind of handle all this stuff. And of course, here we are with the sunshades. This is something I really want to do as well, because we are building for koalas, which are a little bit more sensitive to light. They're a lot more sensitive to sun than any other creatures. That's why they spend their time in the trees, because it has a lot of nice natural shade for them. And unfortunately, these trees don't really have that natural shade that we're kind of in hopes for when it comes to the koalas. So we have to make our own. And when I say make our own, we borrow it from Leader, because he already has such beautiful ones. I could never top them, so we're gonna rely on our good friend right over there. But we're kind of doing that a couple of places over here. We only have two. There's a couple trees that don't have them, the koalas can just move to another tree if they really want to. That is, if they actually did climb. Looking at you, Frontier. Looking at you. But we're essentially just dressing up the rest of the habitat, making sure that it feels nice and cohesive. And we're also adding a little bit of a roof over here because not only do koalas get hot, but humans do too. Especially in the scorching Australian heat, we just want to make sure that everyone is nice, safe, and comfortable. And that's exactly what we kind of do over here. So we kind of do a nice little roof over here. A little bit of framing, just get all that stuff done. I should have done one more beam across, but listen, we all have regrets in life. We're kind of just making our way all throughout here, kind of layering that on top of itself, and also adding another little divot right there with the, I don't know, the awnings, the shingles, I don't really know. And we're kind of connecting that right at the side right there, and it feels so nice all together. And we also do make sure we keep that in line with the rest of the viewing gallery, so we kind of push those out a little bit. We also do a little bit of molding and curb work. I can't believe I carried this on throughout the entire zoo. I gave up on Foxborough Zoo because of the, like, you know, the molding. The molding? No. The curbs. I kind of gave up on a lot of things because of doing custom curbs, but I'm really happy it kind of followed its way through here. But here we are in the B-roll. I do want to thank you guys. It is Monday, I think it'll be. Yes. After all, so I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I hope you guys enjoy your week, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the B-roll and whatever else this channel has planned for the week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Take care and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Bye-bye now.